Hello and welcome to Nikon Sessions. You join me from the Nikon Gallery at Photo London, and we are going to be going through a special edition episode all about the Nikon Z8. I'm joined by some wonderful creators, photographers and videographers, and I'm really interested to hear some of the stories about what you guys got up to when you all came together to create some amazing content. So as always, a really good place to start is, can you just give me a little bit about you, your creativity, what you're here for, all those types of things, and we're going to start here.
I'm a photographer since about 12 years. Before photography, I was studying interior design. I was more into architecture and stuff. But I really learned about being creative. This is something that I'm very thankful for, that I learned that there. But I wanted to be creative on more on a daily basis. And within architecture, you know, by the time you had an idea, by the time to see that realized, it takes such a long time, and by the time you see the results, you're already tired of the idea, you know. So I wanted to do something that was much faster. So that's why I got into photography. I started just assisting another photographer because I didn't know nothing, really nothing. And after a couple of years, I was like, you know, I think I can do this, and I'm having a blast. I'm enjoying it so much.
I think the most important thing you said there is that you're enjoying it, right? And the enjoyment level of the photography that you do is the most important thing, right?
The most important thing. Like, if I don't enjoy it anymore, I'm happy to do something else.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I can so feel what you're saying, most, because I also had that. I've always been a photographer, and maybe 15 years ago I had a kind of a breakdown, because I was jack of all trades, master of none, and I didn't know what my direction would be. And then I realized that I love to do weddings, and I started to take my couples outside in the landscape. And for me, that was the big change I needed, to concentrate on weddings. And these days I'm going back to where I started, with portraits in studio. So I do fine art portraits as well. But weddings is super close to my heart.
Yeah, myself, as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to work in image. When I was very young, I was taking my father Nikon FM2, and I really loved it. And then I didn't know if I wanted to make stills or video. So I started studying and then working more first in the film industry. I was a camera assistant in fiction. So I would say my main occupation is being a filmmaker specialized in mountain sports. But I'm a director. I direct live. I'm editing as well. I'm a journalist in the press, talking about this kind of amazing cameras. So I do all kinds of different things, but all focused on the same passion of creating images.
Yeah, I think nowadays, in the 21st century, being a photographer is just not only being a photographer. You know, you have to be million things, and I think I went through all of them. I've been a photojournalist for too long. Then I got tired from media, especially, and instead of documenting the world, I started creating photographs. I started, became more and more inspired about photography in the way images are made and in what they can be transmitting, but without having to go through the pain and suffering of the people. That's what I did for too long. And now I photograph on things I love. I was also for many years busy with rock and roll and bands, and still busy with that. And lately I'm just working as DOP on feature films and series. And I also make some things like following these guys around for 1 week on a bus trip, which was an amazing experience.
I'm a cinematographer and photographer. I started off getting into photography at school. We had a darkroom at school, and it was all film photography. So the process of understanding how to capture an image from the very first moment all the way into the processing of it and seeing the image at the end is what really interested me. So I started off assisting photographers and then gradually got into video. I've always had a real passion for films. I'm really into the theory of filmmaking, so being able to do it for a job is great, and I'm just always want to strive towards feeling like I can put my own stamp on something and use everything that I've learned over time to do that.
Well, it definitely sounds like you all have different backgrounds. You've all had completely different journeys, right? And I find that really fascinating that you've all kind of come together and you've all independently said to me that you have this really good vibe with each other. So I'd love to start talking about some of the stuff that you shot in Spain and some of the stuff that you did with the Z8, right? So just talk me through, when you first got there, what were you thinking? Because each of you might be thinking slightly different things. So some of you were there to shoot photography, portraiture, some of you there to shoot video. What was that first day like?
It was a really good group. Because I only knew Pep before I went in there, and I have to say I was terrified, because you never know with photographers and their egos, or are we going to have a Devo too? But yeah, it's a great group.
It was a great group. It was a bit confusing in the beginning because we had a film crew filming us and them filming me and me filming them.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the beginning, I think each of us had to find our own space and understand what we were doing. But I enjoyed it a lot, actually. Shooting the new camera was an amazing experience. You know, I was expecting something less than the Z9, as the name might suggest, but it's totally the other way around. I think they made a camera which is lighter. They have even developed it a little bit further. So I got to know them very, very well because I spent a lot of time with them.
I think we're all used to having people around us, you know, when you shoot, but you never have other photographers around you, you know?
Yeah.
So that was for me the first impression of like, how is this gonna work, you know? Like you have people that, you know, have the same profession as you, maybe a different vision, but still, you know, and I was like, I'm sure when you're shooting, the other people are thinking, I would have done it like this, or I should do it like this, or like, you know, or even like tell you like, maybe you should try it like from here, it's also nice from here. I also try to push responsibility upon them that it's something that we do together, you know, it's not me that doing this, because if I do it by myself, it would be probably just 50%. And it was fun, like just have them around, and it's like, even when I was around, when you were shooting and stuff, I was just like, you had the fun of the shoot, which is like always the thing that I love the most, like the atmosphere of a photo shoot, but you don't have the responsibility, so you just like, sometimes I had nothing to do. So I wanted to feel more, how do you say, productive. So I just went with Pep and you know, tried to help him whatever I can help. Sure. And at some point we were like in this valley, and it was amazing. The setting was amazing, and I think he set up for like a whole hour. And by the time the subject came to do the interview, it was so windy, and it was like. And then I realized like I couldn't do this. No. For me, it's like everything needs to go.
Moose is the biggest sandbag I have. 90 kilogram on a light stand, and still that thing was moving. So
we could have done with you on our shoot, to be honest.
We decided not to do that interview because it was dangerous, actually.
Yeah, it was. But again, like so many good memories. I swear, it's.
I think when we met, we instantly felt that we share the same passion, even if we use it in different environments. And we have the same kind of lives. Yeah. So we understand each other instantly, much more maybe than some of our friends who have normal lives and don't always understand what we do and why we do it. So it was, instantly a good team.
You speak like the same language, which is really, it connected us very fast. I think that was the most surprising thing for me, of like, being around other photographers, creatives. Yeah.
That was kind of, I think, the whole trip, constantly being creative among creatives.
Yeah, it was just sad, I think, we didn't see everybody work.
Yeah, in the beginning I thought I was going to be doing a story, and I thought, well, that will be nice. I was already thinking what to shoot, but at the end I think I was the only one that I was assigned a certain assignment, which was to follow you around. So I miss a bit of my creativity in but I had to put that creativity into documenting you around, But I think that's what my background comes from, observing and documenting. So I also had fun doing that. Yeah.
I was hoping to be able to see other creators do their video as well. I did see little bits, but for us, because we were shooting almost like we were looking completely 360 in the gimbal, so we were always going to be shooting in every possible angle. No one really could be on our set, so we essentially were just working alone the whole time, and then people would run over in between takes that needed to be making adjustments and stuff. And it was really fast paced, so we were sort of alone in it. But like I found it really interesting just observing everyone and the way that everyone works every day in their own right. Everyone uses a camera in their own way to complement their work, and it was nice to see that one camera could bring everyone together, but everyone made something completely different. So for me, that's what was
everyone
most
is
valuable.
saying the camera was created for me.
Yeah, but that's exactly also what I figured out. Everybody's doing something else, and which makes it more comforting because it gives you like some kind of peace of mind, like don't stress about, what other people are doing. And because sometimes you see someone's work and you think like, oh, it's so good and I'm not good, and but everybody's like, we should see like the camera as kind of a stove, You can have the best stove, but it's actually what you cook on it, and it goes from, one style to completely different styles. And this is, I think, how we should see each other, creatives, photographers, because I think sometimes we are intimidated.
Sure.
We're very easily intimidated by other creatives. Yeah. And this is something we should push back a little bit. And just, use your stove for what you want to do.
I think it's right that there's sometimes the perception that photographers and videographers and creators have to always compete with each other, and that can obviously then cause to not really get the best out of a big group of people. So I think the fact that you all really got on and all learned from each other is amazing.
We were also having all these discussions in the bus, because when we finish an assignment, then we were getting together in the bus and speaking about the work or about life, And that was also an interesting process of after seeing them work, and then sometimes I was getting the camera and trying to document whatever they were speaking about, and those conversations were also interesting.
I did love the fact that we were on a bus. That was really, really the greatest idea, because we really get to know each other when it comes to the technical aspect of the camera. And I think we had an eye-opener with the 85 1.2. Now the IAF is just, I think what we were talking about is like, no.
Autofocus, right?
Yeah, it was insane.
It's insane, yeah. It's insane.
So now I was like 1.2 razor sharp, and I've never experienced that before. Maybe I'm not a good enough photographer, but I mean, come on, 1.2, but it was so good.
Sure.
Every time, every single time.
Yeah, but
So.
I never used it before, so for
No,
me it was like
same.
the first time.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I love big exposures, and the continuous focus on the eyes was stunning.
In filming, we have the AFF, which is a full-time autofocus, and that one is also working very well for a one-man band. I mean, I did have a first AC, but his work was more helping me around, carry stuff, or maybe sometimes set up the gimbal or helping me. But normally I was working on my own, and having a full-time autofocus, which you can control with this new grip, the MC10. Yeah. That is very smart, because when you want to lock the focus and you want to work with the Z8, and that MC10 is a perfect companion, and that is a big advantage, besides the weight of the camera, which we all agree.
I think it's interesting that you kind of come at it from two different sides, because from the photography point of view, like you were talking about, you're using stuff for the first time, and this is all like new technology that you've never used before with like the eye tracking and stuff. But then from the video side, you often come from bigger rigs where you've used much bigger cameras and much cinema cameras. So you're kind of coming at it and meeting in the middle to this camera that offers you all new things that you've never tried before. So it's
it allows you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do with a bigger camera. like in what I'm doing, going up on a wall or just like hiking or skinning up during hours. If your set is too big or too heavy, you just can't do it. Having, I think I have everything I asked from a camera in 2023. In this one, in terms of video files, frame rates, all these things. We mentioned autofocus and all that, in such a body that I can take with me
Yeah,
wherever
it's so
I go.
familiar. Like
Yeah,
being a
it's,
Nikon photographer, we just got the camera and started shooting,
Yeah.
like instantly. And it's really familiar. It's like
And very
Nikon,
easy
like
to
you used
use.
to, yeah.
I'd love to know if there was one thing in particular, or just even if this experience is something that's going to stay with you. Like, I really like the idea that you all came together, you all created loads of different content, photos, video. Is there something that you're going to take away with you that will then last for you? Because you all came together and now you're going to go and do your own thing. So what's kind of the next thing for you? What's your progress on from here?
I think for me, it's taught me to just trust in what I do and trust in my own process. Because everyone worked so independently and so uniquely. It was nice just observing that and like, okay, I'm good. I can just keep doing what I'm doing and not stress about stuff. Everyone else is going through the same thing as me, and everyone else is on a journey to like make images that they want to and that tell their story. So like, I just want to keep doing that basically.
Yeah, for me, what I'm taking is that photographers will normally, at least the work I did for so long was very lonely. And what I'm taking home is that I love people, I love teamwork, and I think being a filmmaker is also a different job. And what I'm taking from this trip.
I totally agree with you, and I think, as we mentioned at the beginning, even further than our team, being part of the Nikon family and all the people who are passionate, who share the same passion as we do of creating image, it's something that, as you say, makes you feel stronger, maybe.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like Chera said, that now you know you're good enough, because it's like Pep said as well. It's a lonely job. Let's face it, and to spend this much like time with other creatives, like really amazing photographers, it rubs off. At the end of the day, we feel like we're the same. We have the same passion, but we also have the same fears when it comes to photography. We think we're not good enough. We all like taste those feelings. And so that I'm going to take that with me, that I'm good enough as a photographer, but also like Pep, I love to be with beautiful people, and I miss you. Like, I seriously miss you. So it's it's been a great trip. Yeah, it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Don't cry. It's fine. It's natural to doubt yourself, but I do think you guys are really talented, and just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's fine. Like it's like this, right? You know,
yeah.
As long as you move forward, there's progress. So it's like, just, because I do this also for myself.
Thank you all so much for everybody watching at home. I hope you enjoyed that special edition episode around the Nikon Z8 of Nikon Sessions.